Welcome to the magic side of the podcast world with Elise and me today. I have her on the podcast as a guest because we have some very, very special and exciting news. A lot of you have already asked me what I keep sharing in my stories and on Instagram. And yeah, it's an exciting project that was able to come to life really thanks to Elise. Welcome, Elise. Tell us why you are here. Tell us why we have an exciting project coming up and what it's all about.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to finally share this project. We've been working on this for over a year, which is so crazy. And it's also crazy that it's finally done. But we have the Universe Within guide and Zodiac Oracle journal, which goes along with the card deck, the Universe Within Zodiac Oracle deck.
And it's totally such a manifestation piece again, because I think it was back in 2018 when my sister was like, you should have your own deck. And then a lot of people keep telling me, you should have your own deck. And I always played with cards and I always wanted to have something like that. Then I tried to collaborate with tarot deck designers and stuff like that, but it never really clicked. It never really came to life. And then I totally surrendered that idea to the universe because I had so much other things on my plate, right? And Elise and I got together when I needed someone to edit my book. The first book that is not published yet, so don't stress out. It's still not done. But regardless, Elise had the chance to dive into the world of my book, and there's a lot of astrology in there. And then she just asked me or invited me as the projector I am, right? I got the invitation from her to say, hey, let's do something together, because she clearly loves universe and stars and everything just as I do, and wanted to learn more. And I guess that's how it all happened. And now a year and a half later, it's done. And I'm like, it happened so I don't want to say effortlessly, because clearly we both put in the work, but it didn't feel like rushed, right? It literally took a while. It took a moment, it took us a moment to birth it into this world. Elise is also pregnant, so there's a lot of other things that are being birthed into the world, but now we finally have it. We have a deck that guides you into astrology, into your own soul, into yourself, into all of that. And alongside with that, we also have a journal, a guide that literally helps you understand astrology deeper, understand the planets, all of the things. And it's very timeless. So don't think that it's like a yearly planner or something like that, because I've had a yearly astrology planner before. You can start with this deck anytime. It doesn't have to be a specific season. So now I've talked a lot about it, but let us know your perspective on how everything happened and what you're excited about in regards to this deck and journal.
So I mean, obviously we connected a while back for that book project that you were working on, which I loved. I still cannot wait for that book to come out. But I learned so much about astrology through that book that I edited for you. And I had also been getting a lot of people that were telling me like, your artwork is so like mystical and kind of in line with the Oracle Tarot deck kind of style and, themes. Obviously, like that is stuff that I am interested in and always have been. And so my artwork kind of naturally reflects that, especially the stars. And so it was a lot of people also telling me like, you really need to make an Oracle deck. And for the longest time, I had been planning, I'm still planning it, but on doing a tarot deck, it's like that project is still kind of a ways off, just because I'm still learning about the tarot, because 78 cards with heavy symbolism in every single one of them. But it finally clicked for me, like probably around the time that I reached out to you, that like, wait a minute, a tarot deck and an oracle deck are not the same thing. I can start with the oracle deck and still be, you know, working on the bigger tarot project for later. So yeah, and I actually don't even remember exactly what it was that made me think, oh, the two of us should work together specifically for a Zodiac deck, other than I think I just really wanted to learn more about each of the Zodiac signs, and also to create a custom design, a painting for each of those signs. And that just lends itself so well to making a deck. And then, but like, as we talked about it, you also had the journal prompt idea. So it just kind of really unfolded very naturally, I feel like. And yeah, like you said, it wasn't, we took our time with it. We spaced it out and it wasn't rushed or anything like that. So that was fantastic. And yeah, so here, and now it's finally here, which is it's so crazy. Like holding it in my hands is crazy, but I love it.
But I still love, you know, that's also my intention for this deck. It's similar to tarot deck because the tarot is essentially a mirror. Any oracle deck is a mirror to your energy. And so with this deck, it's really my intention for you to pull the cards, right? And the energy will always pull the right card in the right moment. The energy that you are a match to, that mirrors back to you something that you need to learn about the zodiac sign, maybe about the area in your chart that rules, for example, if you pull the Taurus card, right, that rules Taurus. So there's something Taurus related, or in the area where Taurus is in your birth chart, that you want to know, that you want to understand. And I want everyone, that's just my vision, everyone to approach, you know, pulling the deck out and like working and playing with the deck from that perspective. Because sometimes we, especially if you are very, very new to astrology, or you don't know much about your chart and it's hard for you to read it all, we wonder why things are fucking crazy and messy, right? We're like, which transit, what is affecting my chart right now? Like, what's happening, right? And of course, you can book a reading, you can work with an astrologer, but that's some, like the deck and the guide is really something tangible that you can do by yourself at home. So when you feel wonky, then you can just pull the card and see, okay, maybe that's this area in my life, right? Talking about, you pull the Taurus card and you look at what's happening in Taurus in my chart, you know, and then you can see, oh, that's actually my fourth house. So it's home related. So maybe that's where all of the havoc is right now coming up. And then you can take the guide and learn a little bit about the vibration of Taurus, the highest expression of it. And you can journal out what might keep you off alignment right now in this moment. So I just love this as a tool. And it's so funny because the very first astrology offer that I created was Journal with the Universe. Really? Yeah, it was basically a year-long journey through all of the zodiac seasons, so people can learn about astrology, right, and journal with it and like reflect on it, because that's how I learned astrology. I learned astrology through sitting with the archetypes and reflecting on them. That's how I remembered them, because that's also something I say all the time. You have every single energy inside of you, right? You are these 12 archetypes. It doesn't matter if your sun is in Cancer or not, you still have all the other zodiac signs inside of you too. And you still have all the planets affecting you too, right? So we want to know how. Right. What is Neptune doing? What is, exactly.
Right now, and how does that affect? Yeah. That's my favorite thing about this also, is that it's really a tool. Like, yes, you get to learn more about like traditional astrology, and like you learn the archetypes of the signs and the planets and all of that, which is great. I mean, I am a super nerd, so I love that part too. But I feel like the connection between, you know, exploring the astrology by exploring yourself, and by like really diving into, like you said, you know, pulling a card and, oh, I pulled the Gemini card. Well, what does that mean for me today? Like, what is Gemini doing today? Or is it related to Mercury? Because, you know, Mercury rules Gemini. So it's really like tools that you can use to work with in order to dive deeper into your own personality and your own life and the influences and all of that. And, you know, between the deck, which is 48 cards, and we've got the 12 zodiac signs, like each sign has a card, 12 affirmations, one for each zodiac sign that like has that energy. And then the planets and the sun and the moon, and then each of those cards has each of those planets has an affirmation card. So like there's plenty of ways and opportunities for you to, you know, pull a random card. And what is this today? Oh, it's the Scorpio affirmation. Well, you could just take that as like, oh, this is the message that I needed from the universe today. But you can also take it so much deeper and like really look into, oh, what is Scorpio, you know, doing? Like where even is Scorpio in my chart? Because like you said, everyone has all of the different energies at play in your chart somewhere. You know, and so it's just so cool to me how personal and reflective it really is, which is also why, you know, this is kind of our bonus card, the know the universe, know yourself. And also the name of the whole thing of the universe within is very much reflective, I think, of that idea that we built into you know, the whole thing, the deck, and then the journal.
I'm
of course.
so obsessed with the journal, like how it turned out, like so much gold. And the Leo
I love
it
like
so much. All the gold, give me all the gold.
Same. I just cannot like stop doing that, basically.
Me too.
Just seeing that gold foil, and it's on the edges too, and on the back.
And it has a gold.
I
fucking love the back
gold
so
bookmark.
much too. The back, it's so pretty. I want to have that as a print. It's so gorgeous.
Yes, I think I definitely have this as a sticker in the Kickstarter as and then I think it's also one of the prints. I need to double check that actually. But yeah, just this artwork alone is so cool. I love it. And yeah, great as a print just on its own.
So if you want to get your hands on that, obviously a lot of you might already be like, okay, where can I get my hands on it? Guide us a little bit through, because we work with Kickstarter on this deck. So how do people get their hands on it?
So we're going to launch it on Kickstarter. That's when the Kickstarter will go live, and there will be you know, we'll have links in both of our profiles, and I'm sure in this video for where you can go to see the Kickstarter page and pledge on Kickstarter. We're also doing a special, like an early bird special. So if you get any of the main tiers, like I said, I mentioned there's going to be some stickers. So like if you want to really support the project, but you don't want the deck and the journal for some reason, you only want stickers, that will be kind of a lower tier. And then there's also higher tiers where you get the deck and the journal and the stickers.
Every budget can basically support the project. I love that.
Yes. And so shoot, I lost exactly where I was going with that. Early bird. So the main tiers on the Kickstarter, which is how it's essentially a pre-order. So it will go live on July 8th. It will be up and available to pledge on the Kickstarter for 30 days after that. And then assuming we meet our goals, the funding goal, then we will place the bulk order to get everything printed and sent to us, and then we will ship it back out to everyone that ordered. And that the whole process does take a few months, because it takes a few months to print and ship and everything, but all of the details and all of that will keep posted on Kickstarter. And then you can also, I'm sure, just follow our Instagrams and email lists and all of that, and we'll be sending updates as well. But so for the first 7 days of the Kickstarter, that very first week, we have an early bird special for if you get just the deck, which you can do. You can also get the deck and then the guide as a digital, like a PDF essentially. So you can work through it like on your iPad or your tablet or whatever, if for some reason you don't want this gorgeous physical journal.
Could be, but I can't
people
imagine.
Right, like I'm not judging. Some people prefer to work on iPads and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
it's
totally
the travel
fair.
the traveling crowd, which I'm totally one of them too, so I understand.
Same.
Sometimes we have to see how much storage do we actually have in
right. Can I actually carry another physical one? But I feel like most people are probably.
I'm gonna make space for that, and something else has to go. I would rather get rid of my clothes than not have this journal.
Right, exactly. I'll do some other book on Kindle in order to have this physically. But yes, so the main Kickstarter tiers will be the deck with the journal, and then the deck with the digital journal. And those all for the first week have an early bird special price. So if you do order it within that first week, you get a bit of a discount.
Awesome. I have a feeling because the universe guides us through this whole process with the deck. I feel like it's beyond us. It's something that we are just like, somehow we made it happen, and it needed to be birthed into the world. Of course, Cancer season, right? And I feel that people will get their hands on it, right, with Virgo season, because Virgo rules daily routines, right? Journaling, the habits, all the things. And I want everyone to have that as a new habit, to explore the universe within. So, and obviously journaling and all of the things. So I have a feeling it won't take, like, because when you say like it will take a couple of months, that sounds like another year, but no, like I feel like we can speed up the process.
It should be by the fall for sure. Sometime in like September, maybe October.
I think September. I'm the Sag.
But
Sag North Node. It's like no, it will be quicker. Obviously, depends on how many people are loving the project and supporting it too. So the sooner, the better. But I'm excited.
Yes. Oh, me too. Excited. Okay. Should I show off a little bit of the actual deck here?
Yeah, so for everyone who's listening on the podcast, I definitely put down the YouTube video link as well, and the Instagrams and everything where you get the visuals as well, because Elise will now go into like showing the deck. I'm going to explain a little bit to sneak peek, but definitely. Like every card is so beautiful, and we are right now on the fence of, it's probably like the cards will probably come with a matte finish as well, just as the book, because we just like prefer that. So just that might be the only change, but for now you can see the prints, you can see how they turned out. It's so fucking gorgeous. I always start like saying, oh, that's my favorite, and then the next card comes and I'm like, oh, no, that's my favorite.
That's my favorite too. Yes. Yeah, no, I honestly don't think I could pick. Like I could maybe come up with my top 6.
I mean, I really love the Leo one, not because of how it looks, but obviously because I'm a Leo. No, but also because you obviously got inspired by my Leo tattoo. And so it's a very special one.
Yes, I do love the story of this Leo one, because it's not just your tattoo, it's mine too.
Yeah, true.
Because we have in the same spot on I think the same arm, right?
Left
you
arm,
you have your crowned lion, and I have this crowned like lotus rose sacred geometry, and so I very deliberately like used both of those tattoo pieces as the inspiration that went into this design,
because the lotus is the heart too. It's that's
yes. Yeah. So we've got, the lotus flower, and then the crown that's on this lion is kind of a composite of the crown that you have and the crown that I have. And then the lion, I'm pretty sure the lion itself, I also kind of pulled from your design a little bit. So this one is like the extra special one because it is,
and because it's Leo, right? We always say, well, Leo is always the very special one, so we have to also highlight this card. It's very special.
Of course, it was like that. Yeah, but they're just so like, I really tried to put a lot of detail and symbolism and all of that into each of them, which you know, as we're doing more of the marketing and this launch and all that, I know I'm gonna be doing like blog posts and some Instagram live stuff, kind of really going into the deep, like the really nitty gritty details.
Yeah. Even though, I have to say, like, also for everyone who will get their hands on the deck, definitely sit with the card and ask yourself, why are there specific things on the card? Why did we choose a lotus flower, for example? What does the lotus really mean? Oh, that's actually connected to Buddha, to the heart as well, right? To heart opening, so to the strength of the heart. And so in every single card, there's more than just, the basic astrology. There's obviously, Elise is a Scorpio, so there's a deeper level. And I have a stellium in the 8th house. You know that I'm deep, so.
I'm Virgo and Scorpio. So I got all the crazy details packed into these, which is actually hilarious because the Scorpio card too. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Yes.
It also just about like, I wanted to pull my hair out in the midst of doing this.
Also because I just love that it's very much like the gold stands so out. You look at golden fucking Scorpio, and it's just so powerful. And then there's so much black and like blue. I love the color. So
yeah. But there's just like, there was so much symbolism because of course it's Scorpio and I'm Scorpio, and I just had to pack like tons and tons and tons of extra meaning into this design. But there's only, like so much space on the card to work different design elements in. So
and I remember
that was really challenging.
And I remember Capricorn, of course, in true Capricorn fashion, was a hard work as well. Hard work.
Yep. Although I do love I'm also just such a mermaid soul. Yeah. And so I just love this one because half mermaid.
I know. And what I love about it, it's that it's the truest expression, the highest expression of Capricorn, because it looks so feminine, right? And yes, Capricorn is a feminine side. A lot of people don't know, right?
Yep.
It's a feminine, it's the mystic sea goat, it's alchemy in a way. It's like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I did. The Capricorn and Taurus, I feel like, are very similar in the sense of like, I was really trying to emphasize the feminine symbolism.
Yeah.
And like, I've got the horns and the moon and in both of them, like, because those are two signs that I feel like they have kind of this reputation of being, stubborn, and Capricorn, the disciplinarian, but actually they're both earth signs, and they're both really, really actually quite feminine. And so I did very intentionally work that into those ones especially.
I love that. Being a Capricorn moon, I always said at some point I have to write a book about Saturn as well, because so misunderstood, because it all leads to wisdom. It's just Saturn returns in Capricorn, and I know the Capricorn area has been hit hard over the last years and will continue to with Pluto there, but it's just because we have to birth actually a new Capricorn archetype into the world, more in alignment with the feminine, more in alignment with all of that, and dismantling the patriarchy. It's all of that. And of course, even that, right, starts from within, which is why it's so important to really sit with each and every single card. Are you triggered by an archetype? Are you triggered by a Scorpio in your life? Are you triggered by a Capricorn in your life, right? And you pull the card. Well, maybe that's also a reminder that, you want to work with that energy. Because every sun sign, obviously, if you meet someone with a Scorpio sun, that person will shine a light on that vulnerable area in your chart. So it can be amazing. It can be also very triggering to meet those energies in the external world, because it's all the mirrorverse. So that's why I love this deck too. You can even take it into relationships, relationship problem. Then you pull a card, and then maybe, oh my gosh, it's this kind of person in my life,
Right. It's like, oh, maybe it's not, you know, where's Gemini in my chart? Maybe it's where's Gemini in the chart
in my
of the
life.
person
Yeah.
in this particular situation that I'm in. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so we've got, those are like kind of the main, and this was the initial idea, was those 12 designs. And then as we went, we built even more into the deck. So then we've got our 12 affirmation cards for each of the signs. So, you know, you just pull one of those and they've got the affirmation and then the sign symbol on the bottom.
And those affirmations are also in the guidebook. Yes. So it's basically, I created the guidebook, like the journaling prompts and the affirmations. And then we took snippets out of there that basically summarize in a way the vibration of each archetype, of the planets, of all of that. And so you will have that also in the book, but also as a card. And sometimes it might mean that, you know, you can play. Did you put like which sign it relates to on the card? Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
each
you could.
one has
You have the symbol
and the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Which in my understanding helps you to shift into the highest expression of every zodiac, right? So really asking yourself, okay, this affirmation, how much am I actually embodying that already, and how off alignment am I from the highest expression, for example, of Capricorn, right? Am I more so in the lower expression, like restricting myself, being very controlling, being basically my worst parents towards myself? Or am I really into that feminine? I'm building something, nurturing, right? All of that wisdom, finding the meaning in everything.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I love these affirmation cards too, because I feel like they also kind of really drive home that idea that everyone has each of these energies at play. So like, you don't have to be an Aries sign, or like, I don't even think I have Aries in my chart anywhere.
You do. Like everyone has everything.
It's not any of the main planets, I guess.
You don't. That's a good point, because again, we have all zodiacs. Just because you don't have a planet in a house or in a sign doesn't mean that there's nothing happening in this house. There's nothing happening with this sign, because the vibration still influences you in some area of your life, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, and it might even be like, I might not have any major planets in Aries, but maybe the moon is in Aries on that day that I pulled the card, and so it's relevant.
Would you mind reading the Aries card?
Yeah. I was just gonna do that, because even if there isn't an obvious like physical connection, like you don't need to have that in order for this to be relevant to you. So the Aries affirmation is: every form of rejection is a cosmic invitation to have the courage to choose yourself. Which I just love that. Like,
and I have to say, obviously, that's very, very much connected to Chiron's transit through Aries right now, which is really healing all of us from like those childhood imprints of when we started not showing up as the child that doesn't know any rules or restrictions, right? The careless, just like I'm going to go for it, which is the nature of Aries, right? Really impulsive. And at some point in everyone's life, something happened where we don't allow ourselves to act on our instincts, to act on our impulses, right? To act on our desires ultimately.
Right.
And it is because of conditioning, and it is because of rejection, which, again, like collectively we heal that with Chiron and Aries. But I love that.
Yeah. Or like the Sagittarius one is another one of my favorites, probably. It says, with every expanding step that I take, I let the universe expand through me.
Oh,
so gosh. Like, again,
oh my gosh, I love that too. I forgot about this quote. It's so good. It's definitely inspired by my Sagittarius rising in North Node, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I have fear to take action, like, no.
But again, like, you don't have to have, a super obvious connection in your chart necessarily. I mean, obviously, lots of people will, but it's not necessary. Like it's still relevant affirmations for everyone. Which I just love. So then the next kind of section of the deck, which obviously once you have it and you're working with it, you'll shuffle them all up. And so it won't be organized like this. But for the purpose of this, I've kept it like in order. The next section is the planetary illustration cards. So there's just one for each planet. And again, it's like if this card is the one that you pull, you know, you can really kind of reflect on, okay, like maybe you pull the sun. So you want to look up, where is the sun right now? And how is that, you know, influencing my day? Or, you know, maybe you pull Mars and it's, you know, so you have to go look then, okay, where's Mars in my chart? And
where do I need
what
to take
sign
action?
does that relate to? Yeah. And then they do all have just like 3 little kind of keywords as well that sort of can nudge you in a direction. Or maybe it's just that's the energy that's, you know, going to be at play for you today. Like maybe you pull the Venus card and so you're going to have a really, you know, sensual loving day or something like that. So yeah, I love, these were like such a fun addition that I did not expect, I think, to like quite as much as I really do.
I know, I love that too. And then we also have the planets, of course, like, we have the affirmations to everything. And then I feel like a big thing for us to really look into is the journal or the guidebook. So if you want to work with that, like, because obviously this will be on a podcast, so I don't want to keep it too visual heavy here. Right. But we have to show this beautiful book.
Well, yeah. So the basic format of the book is just that each zodiac sign has its own section that you work through. So you can do it a couple of different ways, however way you want to do. If you're right, Kathi, and these do get to people in September, then maybe you're flipping to Virgo because that's the season that you're in right now. Or maybe you start with the deck and you shuffle and you pull a card. Yeah. And then I would prefer
it to be like, you know, really work with the deck, because I want everyone to get out of those like Virgo-y, heady, like this is how it has to. There are no rules to this whole thing. There are no rules. Yeah.
Which I think is another thing that I love about it. It's like you can just kind of, it's so much about exploration.
It's an intuitive fucking guide. So how can you come up with rules for this? No.
You're exploring the zodiac signs. You're exploring the planets. You're exploring your own chart. You're exploring the journal. Like it's all just completely about exploration, which I love. But so each section, it's divided up into sections. And so since we're starting with Cancer, since this is going live during Cancer, I'll start with that to just kind of show you. So you've got the spread that is Cancer in a nutshell. You've got all the different like information, positive aspects, negative aspects, all of that. And then you just have several days worth of journaling. And these are the brilliant questions that Kathi wrote that really help you. So like, that's the other thing I think that's so cool about this, the combination of the cards and the journal, because like some days you might, shuffle the deck and just be asking, what energy is going to show up for me today, or what do I need to be aware of today, or what do I need to learn about today? And you're going to pull a card and it's going to be really obvious. And you'll just be like, oh yeah, well, I pulled the Virgo card and today I'm working on my business finances, or, whatever it is. And so sometimes it'll be really obvious and you won't need necessarily to dig as deep, but then other days, you'll pull a card and be like, oh gosh, what on earth does this have to do with my day today? And so then that's when you can really dive into, there's just so many different sections of questions here This is the Leo one. And so you've got like discovering your inner Leo or your inner Virgo or whatever the sign is. So it really goes through as you work, as you fill out the journal. You're really reflecting on how does this energy show up in your chart, in your life, in your energy. There's also a section to reflect on the previous season. So you're in Leo energy, but you're reflecting on Cancer and how that, because they kind of play on each other as well.
They build up on each other. A lot of people think, oh, Cancer, that's a contradiction to Leo, which is so not true. It's actually the foundation of Leo. The foundation for you to start playing, to start creating, is that you have a solid foundation of nurturing, a solid ground inside of you, right?
Yes.
And to understand the waters, Cancer, so you can use the waters to actually fuel your creativity. So
absolutely. Yeah. And then you've also got a section on Leo challenges. So especially if your question to the deck really pertained to a challenge, something that's you're needing guidance or help with, then you could, you can kind of pick and choose the questions and the sections in the journal that are the most relevant for what your question was and what cards came up, and kind of the combination of all of that. And then each section of the journal also ends with that same affirmation for the highest expression of the sign. And then there's just a few blank journal, blank journal pages. So if you run out of room or you just have more that you want to say to yourself, then there's a little bit of space after each section to do that.
I do feel like we should definitely have some digital wallpaper things for screensaver phone options with those cards and everything. So you can even use it as a reminder throughout the day, set your your lock screen in that way, as for example the Sagittarius card, right, to remind you of the courage to really expand, all of the things. You can just make this a thing, a whole vibe of living in alignment with your soul every single second of your day, not just when you have your routine with your journal, but then also when you go outside and play in the cosmic game.
I definitely would encourage people. I mean, we'll make some digital downloads available. You can even just snap a picture of the card of the day. And then that actually reminds me too, the other thing that these can be used for, slightly less interactive, but is just as altar, on your altar, especially, if you're working with a particular planet, especially. I know people do planetary magic. So, you can just pick out of the deck, say you're working with Saturn, or it's your Saturn return is happening. So you're really aware of that just in general. You can always just kind of pick out of the deck the Saturn card and then the Saturn affirmation card, and kind of stick those two to get side by side on your altar as just visual reminder of this is what you're working on and working with. And so that's another slightly less, I mean, it's no less interactive. It's a little less interactive with the deck, but that's just another way that you can work with this, use it kind of in everyday life.
I love that. Yes. So to sum it all up, this is the perfect mirror to really explore your soul, of course, the universe within, really understand astrology in your life and how it influences you, the energies, right? The energies that you also are. And if you are excited about this project, obviously you will find the links all down below in the show notes if you listen, or in the info box if you watch. On Instagram, Kickstarter, that's where you can support the project, where you get your hands on the deck as well. You see all the different options with the tiers. If you happen to have any other questions, Elise and I are very active in our DMs on Instagram. You can reach out, you can ask. And if you get your hands on them, please share your unboxing. I would love to have like the faces of people, like how they react the first time they really have it in their hands. Oh my gosh.
I can't wait for that to start coming.
Amazing. So yeah, and thank you so much, Elise, obviously, for inviting me. The universe thanks you too. Thank you everyone for supporting this project, for working with it, for letting the universe inside of your life. And any last words from you, Elise?
Oh gosh, I don't think so. I think I'm just, I'm so excited. I'm so excited how this has worked out. Like you said, I can't wait for people to start getting them and actually working with them. It's going to be great.
Amazing. So thank you so much for being here and explaining everything with me. We'll hear each other very soon, and we will hopefully see everyone over on Kickstarter celebrating this amazing, beautiful, gorgeous piece of art that you created and that we created. So everyone can step in their magic.
Yes.